I've done audits for over 100 Google ad accounts, and I can tell you that most brands think Google ads don't work, but the issue is that their feed is broken because shopping ads are one of the best campaigns you'll ever run for your brand. But the issue is that most of the optimizations for the shopping ad don't even happen in the ad account, they happen in your feed. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to optimize your feed. So shopping feed optimization always starts at the product title level. Google looks at different attributes in your merchant center to understand what your product is, right? And then match it with the relevant searches. But within all of those attributes, the single most important one is your product title. If you optimize the title, it is 70% of the optimizations. It is that important. But where most brands go wrong is that they use a tool like Google and YouTube app to create the feed, to import the data, which is completely fine. But the issue is that all of that data is pulled directly from your Shopify, and the product titles on your website are in most cases not the best for your shopping product title. And brands never optimize that. That is the problem. So to optimize the title, you need to front load the most important keywords that you want to target inside of your title. So again, you need to make sure that the most important keywords are at the front of the title. That is what Google indexes the most upon. It still needs to make grammatical sense though. And here's a general framework that you can use to create really good titles. You always start with the main keywords, then you can add some important attributes. Then if there are some unique selling points on your products, include them. And at the last, you can add your brand name. Now, if your brand name is important and it's a big brand that you can actually use to leverage, then you put the brand name at the front of the title. So as an example, if you're selling, let's say, bloat relief supplement, an example title for that could be bloat relief powder for gas and indigestion. 30 capsules, men and women. And here, for example, the title of a product is Yoga Mat Holder, Yoga Mat Storage Tube, yellow, and then, the brand name. Now, to actually change the title of the products in the merchant center, you have two different options. You can either go directly into the GMC and open the product and edit the title from here. But this is only good if you have like one or two products, maybe, right? Then you can do it manually. But if you have multiple different products, the best way to do that is to use a supplemental sheet and change all the attributes that you want to for each item ID. So the format for title is simply title. You would first have the ID column in your sheet. That's how Google knows which product you're talking about. And then if you want to change the title, you would have another column named as title, and then you can put whichever title you want to create. You can edit each and every attribute that you want to by naming the column correctly. And here is an example of a bad product title. This product right here could have had so many more keywords that are important for the targeting, which it does not. So this is a bad example. Don't create titles like this. Second attribute over here is the description. It is nowhere near as important as the title, but still you need to complete it. The most important part is the same, that you need to try to have the relevant keywords, the keywords that you want to target, also in the description. In most of the cases, when this is being pulled from Shopify, in most of the cases, it should be fine. But still, just check it. If it does not include the keywords, then manually, then go and edit the description. And also here is a template that you can use to create descriptions manually. So it goes like brand name presents the product, perfect for the target audience who has X, Y, and Z uses or desires. This product type features feature number 1, feature number 2, and making it your unique selling proposition. And a bonus tip, if you can include 5 to 10 variations of the main keyword at the end of the description. The format for this column is simply description. Product images is something that a lot of brands overlook. They believe maybe that it doesn't even matter, but that is not the case, because images are your creative in the Google Shopping ads. The main fundamental with this is it must represent your product correctly. It must make it clear what the product is precisely. But what you want to ideally try to do is stand out from the competition. And I'm going to show you the frameworks that you can use to do that. But the importance of images is, like for example, let's say you're getting a 0.5% CTR on your product, and then you improve the image, you test a few different images, and you land on an image that is getting you a 1% click-through rate, right? That is double the amount of clicks overnight without, changing anything else. So it is really important, firstly, and the tertiary benefit of doing this is also that Google sees that your products are very relevant to what people are searching for. That makes Google prefer you, because the whole goal of Google is it wants to be as relevant to the searches as possible. And when you help it do that, it rewards you. So to optimize the image and try to stand out, what you do is you look at your competitors, you make the search for what you're selling in the region that you want to sell it in, and you see what images your competitors are using. and then you try to stand out. For example, and this is a perfect example of what I'm trying to say here. This particular image is a lifestyle product image. The other images are just a white background images, right? So this image clearly stands out compared to all of the other ones, and this is exactly what you want to do. You can easily do these optimizations with AI if you don't have such product lifestyle images. It's very easy to do these days, and also try to use 75 to 90% of the canvas in the shopping ad to make it most optimal for display. And also make sure that the images are at least 1500 by 1500 pixels. The column name for image when you're using a supplemental sheet is image link. So again, either you can do it via the supplemental sheet or you can edit directly from here. To edit from here, you would just click on it and add an image over here, and then you can make that as the primary image. All right, moving on to the next one, we have product type and Google product category. These are two separate things. They are both classifications, but product type is your own classification of what you're selling. So how you would categorize them. It has two uses. First of all, when you're creating your shopping feed, when you're choosing the products in your shopping campaigns to run, you can use the product type to narrow down correctly. And also Google looks at this to again understand what your product is. So it also helps with the SEO of the shopping ad, and that is why you need to fill it out. And the best way to do it is just create your own classification. So in this case, we have yoga, then yoga mat holder. Or in the other example, if we were again selling like bloat relief supplements, the classification for that could be supplement, gut supplements, gas relief supplements, right? So this is how you can do this by yourself. And for Google product category, this is basically how your products classify according to Google's taxonomy. Either you can go on Google and search for Google product category taxonomy, and you'll find this document. From there, you can look at what is the most applicable to you and use that. Or again, you can just directly scroll through and see which is the most relevant category and then use that. Now for product identifiers, we have three different things here. First is your item ID. And I see so many brands mess this up. Your item ID is basically what Google can see. It does not know your mat holder, your gas supplement. It just knows the ID, and it stores all of the data on the item ID level. So when you create an automatic feed, let's say from the Google and YouTube app, each product is automatically assigned unique ID, okay? Or when you create primary feed by your own, right, you can manually assign any product ID that you want to each item. But the crucial part is that you never change this item ID. Once it is created, it is done. You never change it. Because if you change it, according to Google, you have deleted the item and it is a completely new, fresh item. So that will erase the entire product learning. So never ever change an item ID. That is really important. Now, what you see right here is the G10. G10 is basically the universally recognized ID for your product, and you might already have it. If you don't have it, then you can ask your supplier to provide it. And in some cases, the products might actually not have a GTN. So in that case, what you do is you click on this button, I don't have a GTN, and then you use MPN. MPN is manufacturer part number. And again, you might have it, but if you don't, you can just assign it manually. You can create a random MPN on the spot and just use that. So again, try to use GTN. It has become much more important than what it used to be a few years ago. If you don't have GTN, then make sure to use MPN. All right, that covers the attributes that would be applicable to pretty much all of the items or everything that you're selling. But in some cases, like if you're selling, for example, clothing products, you would need to fill out some additional attributes here, which is color, size, and gender. So if this is relevant to you, this is also important for you, because if you ever notice on shopping ads, people can go to the shopping tab, and from there they can narrow down exactly what they're looking for. So often if someone is looking in the shopping tab, they might narrow it down with the different colors or size or gender that they're looking for. And if you have not filled out these attributes, then your product will not appear for those filters. So that is why if it is relevant to you, it is also really important for you. Again, you can do this via the supplemental feed. You don't have to do all of this manually. The attributes for product identifiers are, for ID, it is just ID. For GTN, again, it is GTN. And for MPN, it is MPN. Now, here is a bonus tip. Make it a schedule to go into your merchant center regularly, at least every single week, and go to the needs attention tab. From there, see if there are any products that are, that have been disapproved, because it will pretty much always happen when you're running ads. Some of your items will get disapproved. It might be a glitch with GMC. It might be a glitch with Shopify. Something might have changed. Some policies might have changed, So some of your products will get disapproved, but you have to fix them. And you'll only get to know what is disapproved when you go into the GMC and have a look. So again, that is how you optimize your product feed. And like I said, to change all of these attributes, we pretty much always use a supplemental feed. The mandatory column in the supplemental feed has to be your ID, because that is how Google knows which item you're talking about. So once you fill up the ID, then you take all of these other columns that you want to change, you name each of them, and you make the changes, and you attach the supplemental feed. Automatically, your item, your attributes will be changed. So that is it for this video. If you found it helpful, feel free to watch the rest of my content, and I'll see you in the next one.